Alright guys, so let's review for tomorrow's quiz. Let me go back to the question number 1. The first thing we're going to see is that the three angles of a triangle add up to 180. So question number 1, solve for x, just add the three angles. So let me add everything. So I'm going to go 9x plus 13 plus 35 plus 60. This is going to equal to 180. The idea is add the three angles and equals to 180. Right? That way we can solve for x. On the left side of the equal sign, right? Let me separate them. We can simplify things a little. How much is 13 plus 35 plus 60? 108. So we have 9x plus 108 is equal to 180. Okay, so we just simplified it a little. So our 108, let me move it to the other side. That's a negative 108. So we have the 9x equals, how much is 180 minus 108? 72. If 9x equals 72, what's x? 8. Okay. Remember, on your worksheet, you will not have any decimal. If you come out with a decimal, I'll suggest you go back and do it again. So there's no decimal. You could have a negative number, but no decimal. Yes. Okay, the question was like, are we getting more and more problems? It said the thing is that this week we learned a lot of problems. So we have to give you a lot of review. We learned a lot of topics. So if you notice, the first 4, right, questions 1 through 4, solve for x. But then questions 5 through 8, solve for x and then plug it in. So that's the difference between the first 4 and 5 through 8. Any questions for the first 8? Alright, let's take a look at question number 9. For question number 9, when I'm giving you two triangles, and I'm asking you guys for an angle of one triangle, just for one angle, the thing is, start with the other triangle. So there's two triangles, start with the other triangle. We know that the three angles on the triangle add up to 180. I noticed on the left triangle, two numbers, 62 and 48, that is already 110. So that's already 110. How big is the remaining angle? How much? 70. Good. The way we came out with the 70, we just added 62 plus 48 and subtracted that from 180. That's how we came out with 70. Alright, then I see 70 here, I see 55 here, and I notice if I combine it with another angle, that's half a circle, which half a circle is 180 as well. So I know 70 and 55, so far it's 125. How big is the remaining angle? 55. Subtract that from 180, right? It was 125, subtract that from 180, so that's 55. Now we can answer the angle we needed. And looking at my triangle on the right, those two angles, 70 and 55, if I add those two numbers, that's 125. If this 70 plus 55 is 125, how big is the third angle? 55. Because we subtracted it from 180, so there we go. The third angle is 55. Once again, if I give you two triangles, I'm asking you for one angle on one triangle, start in the other triangle. So that's how you're going to start. Start in the other triangle. Another rule you guys need to remember, if there's an X form, on one side, let's say it's 110 degrees, I'm going to say the other side is also 110. When there's an X form. Right, we cannot use that number 9 at the bottom because that's not an X. Only when there's an X form, that's what we call vertical angle here. Number 10. Alright, let's take a look at number 10. I'm going to start finding this angle. I notice in that triangle I have 69 and 56. 69 plus 56 is 125. Yeah, 125. How big is this third angle? 55. Good. The way we came out with it is we subtracted it from 180, right? 180 minus 125 gave us 55. Okay, but now I notice there's a little square. You guys see that little square there? Which represents 90. Those two angles combined is 90. One angle is 55. How big is the other angle? 35. Once again, the two angles combined is 90. Alright, so now that we have that 35, in this left triangle, I know 35 and 85 is 120. So how big is the third angle? 60. We subtracted it from 180, so 60. Any questions for the first 12? The 35, watch, let's take the 35 out. We knew that was 55, right? We know that those two combined is 90 because of the little red box at that corner. So we know that's 90, so I just went 90 minus 55, and that's how we got 35. Any other questions up until number 12? Let's take a look at number 13. The exterior angle theorem, when there's an angle on the outside, we know that angle, 11x minus 10, is equal to the sum of the two on the inside. So I have to add the two on the inside. So I'm just going to go 85 plus 3x plus 1. Once again, the angle on the outside equals to the 2 on the inside. So we have to add the 2 on the inside. The left side, let me just call it 11x minus 10. On the right side, let me simplify it. How much is 85 plus 1? So we have 86 plus 3x. I see letters on both sides. So my 3x on the right, let me move it to the left as a negative 3x. My negative 10 on the left, let me move it to the right as a plus 10. Remember, whenever we move something from one side to the other, don't forget to switch the signs. How much is 11x minus 3x? 8x. How much is 86 plus 10? 96. So x equals what? 12. So questions 13 and 14 just solve for x. But then questions 15 and 16 solve for x and plug it in. Remember, once again, 13, 14 just solve for x. 15 and 16 solve for x and plug it in. Any questions up until 16? Like 15? Let's take a look at 15. So first, let's solve for x. I'm going to say that 140 is equal to 13x minus 7 plus 3x plus 3. And first, we're going to solve for x. So on the left side is just 140. On the right side, how much is 13x plus 3x? 16x. How much is negative 7 plus 3? Negative 4. So remember, I was just simplifying the right side. That's all I was doing. Now, my negative 4 on the right, let me move it as a plus 4 on the left. So I have 144 is equal to 16x. What's the value of x? 9. So now that we know 9, x equals 9, plug it in. My question here is find the measure of angle U. So we're going to plug it in for U. 13x minus 7. We know the value of x. How much is 13 times x minus 7? What is it? 110. Yes. Because 13 times 9 is 117 minus 7, 110. Okay, so did that answer your question? Where do we plug in? Well, where U? Because see how it was asking measurement of angle U? So plug it in for U. Alright, so we're good? Up until 16, we're good? Alright, let's take a look at number 17. Thanks for confidence. Looking at 17, the numbers are not listed in any order. They're just lists, right? They're just 3 numbers. They're not in any order. So it stated that 3 numbers can be the measures of the size of a triangle. I'm going to add the 2 smaller numbers. In this case, 10 plus 7. And I'm adding the 2 smaller numbers, and it has to be bigger than the third number. Is 10 plus 7 more than 16? Yes. So in that case, yes, they can form a triangle. If it's less than or equal to, then it's a no. Or it has to strictly be bigger than. And I'm adding the 2 smaller numbers. Right. Any questions up until 20? Alright, looking at number 21, I'm only going to give you 2 sides. It says 2 sides of a triangle have the following measures. Find the range of possible measures of the third side. I'm going to say the third side. Let me call it x. And I'm going to say it has to be more than 2, but it's going to be less than 18. The way I came out with my 2 and my 18, from the 2 values that I had, 8 and 10, I subtracted the values to come out with a 2. Then I added the values to come out with an 18. So remember, the way I came out with a 2, because I subtracted my values. The way I came out with an 18, because I added my values. And then basically I'm saying, to be true, pick any number between 2 and 18. You don't have to pick it, just give me that range. That's all I'm asking. 2 is less than x, less than 18. That's all I'm asking. Yeah, this is what I'm asking for. Any questions up until 24? Alright, looking at number 25, I know we have, once again, we did have a good amount of topics this week. Looking at 25, the one thing that we pushed for in yesterday's lecture was isosceles triangle. If you stand it on the 2 sides that are equal, keep in mind it has to be standing on the 2 sides that are equal, then the bottom 2 angles are going to be equal as well. The same thing though, if it's standing and the bottom 2 angles are equal, obviously the 2 sides are equal as well. So based on that idea, I see the 2 angles there, they're equal, so I'm going to say these 2 sides are equal as well. You might have to flip it, you can flip your paper to see that the angles are at the bottom. What's the value of x? X equals 9. So once again, if it's standing on the 2 legs that are equal, then the bottom 2 angles are equal. But it has to be standing on the 2 legs. Same idea. Let's take a look at number 29. You guys see the 2 legs that are equal, so I'm going to say the 2 angles that are equal are those 2. So is x equal 98? No. X is right there. So x is not 98, right? So this third angle, is this x or is this 98? That one's x. So we have the 3 angles of a triangle. So we're going to look like the first section. I'm going to go x plus 98 equals 180. We have the three angles, so add the three angles and equals to 180. And I think the rest from there you guys can finish, right? Next steps you guys can finish. 2x plus 98 equals 180, so on and so forth. Any questions up until 36? 35? Alright. Looking at number 35, because those two angles are equal, I'm going to say these two sides are equal. Right? If you rotate it and put the two angles at the bottom, so we have that x plus 19 is equal to 11. Once again, the rest, so for x, I'll leave that up to you. And x can be negative. This will be a negative answer. Right, so any questions up until 36? Yes. Number 20. Alright, so you have the 10 plus 7. It has to be greater than 17. Is 10 plus 7 more than 17? So then no. Okay. I know those are equal to, but it has to be strictly greater than. Alright, so any other questions up until 36? Let's take a look at 37. I see that the measurement of angle 2 is 6x minus 12. So instead of that 2, let me erase it, and let me write 6x minus 12. And I'm going to replace it with what I was given. One thing we can do is, you see those two sides are equal. So I'm going to treat it as an isosceles triangle. I'm going to spin it around. So extending on the two legs, I'm going to say those two angles are equal. Right? I can treat it as an isosceles triangle. Then I'm going to come and say 6x minus 12 is equal to 60. And then from there you solve for x. Right? It's more than 11, less than 13, somewhere in there. So you guys can solve for x. That's one way of doing it. Another way you guys could have done it is like, well, this is a nice equilateral triangle. I notice that all three sides are equal, so all three angles are equal, they're all 60. Obviously, set it up the same way. 6x minus 12 equals 60. Work it through. You had a question? 39? Alright, looking at number 39, I want to look at this as an isosceles triangle. First, that angle 2, let me change that for 6x minus 3. I see that two sides that are equal, it is standing on the two sides, so those two angles are equal. So I'm just going to come and say 6x minus 3 is equal to 69. And then the rest, obviously, work it through. Keep in mind, though, the two angles that you have, they're not always equal. If I give you the two base angles, yes, they are. But if I give you one angle that is base, and I give you the angle on the top, then they're not equal. Right? So you will run into those cases sometimes. Any questions at all? 36? Alright, looking at 36, if you spin it so the two angles are at the bottom, you're going to get that these two sides are equal. Okay, if you spin it to put the two angles at the bottom, you're going to get that those two sides are equal. So you have 2x minus 12 is equal to 12. And then from there you can finish the rest. Keep in mind, every time I say from there you can finish the rest, if you want me to finish it, I just ask and I'll finish. But I'm assuming you all can, but if you ask, I'll finish. Finish this one? You're good? Okay. Alright, any questions? 32? Alright, looking at 32, I noticed notice that it's equilateral. Right? All three sides are equal. So that means that all three angles are equal. So x will be 60. That one, that's it. Yes. 29. Alright, so I have that x plus 98 equals 180, right? That's where I left off. Alright, if you simplify the left, you have 2x plus 98 equals 180. My plus 98, let me move it to the right side as a minus 98. So we have the 2x is equal to 82. So 190 minus 90, 180 minus 98. So divide both sides by 2, x equals 41. Yeah. 33 to 36. Yes. Any questions?